Yo, my beautiful people, you know what time it is. It's your boy Shady, Shae, the one and the only. And today, guys, I'm going to touch on a topic that's a bit serious, a bit different from a lot of videos I've been making recently, guys. Okay, so the topic is, why do people hate Jews? It's something I've been wondering about, you know. So growing up in a Christian family, we've always believed the Jews, you know, Israel is the chosen country, the chosen people. Jesus Christ came from there. It's our holy land and all of that. But then when I grew up, I started noticing people hating the Jews, hating the Jews. And I keep wondering why. From history past, far in history, they've been hated for long. So guys, today, I want to find out why. Recently, I've had quite a lot of people from Israel on my channel, and their comments have been really lovely, really neutral, and very positive, no hate. And that also sparked my curiosity some more. So without saying too much, guys, today we're going to jump on this topic right away, and let's learn together. Let's get this started. Let's go.
I am a dude known as Mr. Beat.
Hi.
Over the years, I have encountered opinions online like this.
Talking about the wicked ones in the Jewish community that run America, run the government, run the world, own the banks, own the means of communication. They are my enemy.
Jews control the mass media in this country. They control the United States federal government, and they control the Federal Reserve Bank.
I'm here to spread ideas, talk, in the hopes that somebody more capable will come along and do that. Somebody like Donald Trump, who does not give his daughter to a Jew.
Jews will not replace us.
You know, I've heard things like this. I've seen many videos about things like this, but I've not really bothered to watch them. But I keep hearing so many things like this. And please, Mr. Beats, I know there's no S in your name, so you're not a beast. But yeah, please explain.
Jews will not replace us.
Pretty disturbing, yes.
Yeah.
And then I went to my colleagues and asked them this question. If there was just one group of people that has been kind of consistently persecuted throughout world history, what's the first group that comes to mind to you? I probably should tell you
Jews
here
and
that I
blacks.
did not tell them what to say beforehand. This was not scripted. In fact, they had no idea what this video was going to be about. They just were being nice and said, yeah, sure, I'll answer a couple questions on camera for you.
Tear off, he's German.
The Jewish population.
Jewish people.
The first group I probably think of with that would be the Jewish people.
Almost every single one of my colleagues said the same thing. They said the same group was the one that first came to mind when they thought about groups that were targeted throughout world history. And even though Jews make up less than 1/4% of the total world population, they do seem to come up a lot as a group that is consistently targeted, no matter where we're talking about, no matter what time period, including the present. What caused?
That is actually true. That is actually true. Like I said, through history, they've been targeted up to our present day. Always. So I want to know. Really, I want to know.
No matter where we're talking about, no matter what time period, including the present. What causes anti-Semitism?
Because for the most part they're ignorant of what it really stands for. We always have a habit when times get tough of blaming things that we don't know for the reason why things go wrong.
I would say in a lot of cases because they've been a minority group in an area that's been in a lot of, many of the places, made them an easy scapegoat for a lot of majority groups to persecute or to blame social ills on.
I think they've disseminated throughout many of the populations of the European countries and have always been a minority. They have been easy to be picked on and persecuted and scapegoated for many of the problems of countries as they've gone through economic turmoil and political turmoil.
And not to discount any of my colleagues' opinions, they were all great answers, but I did my own research on this, and here is why Jews are hated. But before I dive into it, I want to let you know that I am making this video alongside Grant Hurst, a fellow edutuber who just released a video about the history of the Jewish people. So be sure to check that out after this one. Before we look at why people hate Jews, also known as anti-Semitism, we need to define Jew. A Jew is someone who identifies with the cultural community whose traditional religion is Judaism, who traces their ancestry to the ancient Hebrew people of Israel, all the way back to Abraham. Jewish people are considered an ethno-religious group, both an ethnic group and a religion. There are plenty who identify as Jews yet are not religious. Israel's law of return, which is the law that gives Jews the right to visit and be a citizen of Israel, says a Jew is someone with either a Jewish mother or who has converted to Judaism. Anyway, during the time of Jesus in ancient Israel, many were of course Jewish, including Jesus himself. After Jesus died, his followers started a new religion called Christianity. As Christianity spread and as more and more Roman emperors converted to the religion, Jews became marginalized in society. Even though Jews worshiped the same God as Christians did, Roman rulers viewed the refusal of the Jewish community to accept Jesus as the Messiah as a threat. They straight up passed laws that discriminated against Jews. In the year 399, a law saying Jews couldn't marry Christians. In 439, a law saying Jews couldn't hold positions in government. In 531, a law saying they couldn't appear as witnesses against Christians in courts. Rumors began to spread that Jews had horns and tails and that they killed Christian children and used their blood for rituals. In the Middle Ages, many societies forced Jews to live in segregated ghettos and wear special clothing. The Catholic
Wow, I never heard any of these. Any of these things here, I have never heard of these ones, all right? The things they said in the intro, those I heard of, but these bits, I've never heard about these at all.
Jews to live in segregated ghettos and wear special clothing. The Catholic Church did not allow Jews to own land, so Jews couldn't build up wealth through property. However, the church also didn't let Christians loan money for profit. Jews could, so they often turned to money lending to build up wealth. Due to the fact that nearly every money lender happened to be Jewish, this ended up creating a stereotype that Jews were greedy. I mean, people who loan money and charge interest throughout history have rarely been seen in a positive light, am I right? Christian rulers used Jewish money to build extravagant churches and build up armies. By the 11th century, Christianity dominated Europe, and the main minority religion was Judaism. Jews seemed to be the one group Christians could not convert, seen as outsiders. By this time, the Catholic Church was even teaching that Jews were responsible for the death of Jesus, and then the Black Death. During the 14th century, the bubonic plague spread quickly across Europe, killing around a third of its entire population. Since this was before science, people had no idea what was causing it. Due to superstition and fear, and without any evidence whatsoever, Christians blamed Jews for causing the plague.
Really? It's not funny. Really? No. I have never heard this before. So I'm like, yo, you're gonna make me research too, bro. That is insane.
Accusing them of poisoning wells to spread the disease. Probably one reason why Jews seemed to be a scapegoat was because they were not dying from the plague as much as Christians. We now know this was because Jews were generally isolated in ghettos away from Christians during this time, and because they were better about cleaning themselves and washing dead bodies before burial due to their religious customs. Still, tens of thousands of Jews were burned alive after being blamed for causing the plague. In 1543, Martin Luther, who gets credit for starting the Protestant Reformation, wrote a pamphlet called On the Jews and Their Lies. In it, he claimed Jews thirsted for Christian blood, and he actually encouraged the killing of Jews. Wow. Looking ahead at 1873, when the term anti-Semitism first appeared by a dude named Wilhelm Marr. Marr wrote that Jews were secretly trying to take over the government and that they shouldn't be citizens. In 1894, in what became known as the Dreyfus Affair, authorities accused a Jewish French army captain named Alfred Dreyfus of selling military secrets to the Germans. After evidence proved his innocence, anti-Semitic French authorities covered that up so he would be found guilty anyway. In 1903, the Russian secret police published some fake documents that were known as the Protocols of the Elders of Zion, which described a conspiracy by rabbis to take over the world. The Russian secret police later murdered entire Jewish communities. After the communists took over in 1917, more than 500 Jewish communities in Ukraine were wiped out, and around 60,000 Jews were killed in what became known as pogroms. Today, the word pogrom means any organized massacre of a certain ethnic group. Then there is probably the most famous and horrifying genocide in world history, the Holocaust, during Adolf Hitler's reign of terror. He and his fellow Nazis blamed Jews for all of Germany's major economic and social problems after World War I. At the time in Germany, anti-Semitism seemed to be everywhere. The Nazis killed up to 6 million Jews.
6 million Jews. They were targeted and just massacred. That's mad.
During the Holocaust, most of them in extermination camps and concentration camps. The world was shocked to find out about the Holocaust, and fortunately, anti-Semitism declined after World War II. Based on all the attacks on Jews throughout history, for centuries, many Jews like Theodor Herzl argued that the only way to escape persecution, discrimination, and genocide was to create a Jewish state, specifically in Palestine, an area where historically Jews lived, and the location of ancient Israel. The movement to try to get Jews to return to Palestine to live and establish their own society was known as Zionism. Thanks to the efforts of people like Herzl, the Zionist movement grew, and Great Britain got on board. In 1917, in the Balfour Declaration, Great Britain announced it was establishing a, quote, national home for the Jewish people in Palestine, an area Britain now controlled after the fall of the Ottoman Empire in World War I. At the time, only about 4% of Palestine was Jewish. As more and more Jews moved to Palestine in the 1920s and 1930s, resentment grew among the local Arabs in Palestine, who grew to hate Zionism as a threat to their homeland. You could say Zionism entered the mainstream after people found out how the Nazis had treated the Jews before and during World War II. Many around the world embraced Zionism after the Holocaust, and Britain asked the newly formed United Nations to step in regarding what to do with Palestine. The UN proposed 2 states in Palestine, an Arab one and a Jewish one. At the time, Jews made up only a third of the population of Palestine and owned only 6% of the land. However, the UN's 2-state solution called for 55% of the land area for the Jewish state. On May 14, 1948, leaders announced the creation of the State of Israel, which immediately caused a war with neighboring Arab countries. Israel held back those Arab forces, but it ended up causing more than 700,000 Palestinian Arabs to flee their homeland. Why do I bring up modern Israel? Well, while much of the anti-Semitism that exists today has its roots in the Middle Ages, a lot of it boiled over with the creation of Israel.
You have as well.
Wow. These people have been hated so much for so very long. So very long that they were even, exiled from their land, and they were spread across the whole world. They just spread across. They had no home. The amount of hate these people have faced. No people deserve to, face this amount of hate. All right, no one deserves this amount of hate. It's so much. It's just too much. All through history, to the point where they were exiled from their original land, and obviously because they don't live there anymore, the land was taken over by people that moved there, and then finally the land was cut back and was being given back to them, and Again, troubles again. Troubles. Everywhere they go, just troubles. They left their land, you know, exiled from the land, went around the world, they have been troubled there. Then they were brought back to their land, still been troubled there. Everywhere they go, being troubled.
A new form of anti-Semitism.
With the creation of Israel.
You have as well a new form of anti-Semitism that is closely linked with anti-Zionism and hostility towards Israel. There is legitimate criticism of the policies of Israel, but there is a fine line that some people cross very easily between criticism of Israel and anti-Semitism.
In other words, some claim the creation of Israel and how the Israeli government has treated Palestinians and other Arabs ever since has also caused a new wave of anti-Semitism. Fortunately today, we don't see the systematic government-sponsored discrimination and genocide of Jews that we used to see prior to and during World War II. However, hop online and you will still see lots of hatred of Jews.
Yeah,
there are lots of anti-Semitic groups that still exist around the world.
I see them, yeah.
And chances are you will see below this very video anti-Semitic comments. Go ahead and check it out. I'm sure they are there.
Let's check it. Let's check it. Man, I'm so sick of American politicians claiming that any criticism of the Israeli government is anti-Semitism is ridiculous. That's like saying criticizing King Jong-un means you hate Asian people. Gamers are the most persecuted group in all of history. The current problem with today's society is that there's no middle ground for topics like this. You're either pro-Palestine or pro-Israel. You're either a right-wing extremist or a left-wing radical. You're either an ally or a foe. A society that is divided cannot maintain itself. Imagine getting kicked out of 110 countries. Saying that criticizing Israel is anti-Semitism is wrong. I'm Muslim and I don't like Saudi Arabia laws. Does that make me an Islamophobe? I was kicked out of 100 restaurants. I don't understand why all those restaurants hated me. I work for a Jewish man who started his own business selling toys here in Houston, Texas, and it became a multi-million-dollar business. It was a small company, but was very profitable. He also had invested in commercial properties. He took very good care of all his employees. It was the best company I ever worked at. When the Rockets won the championship, he closed the company, rented a limo bus, and took the company downtown to see the parade. I worked in a warehouse as a forklift driver. We had excellent benefits, yearly bonuses. He really did care for people, for everyone in the company. I'm Mexican American.
Chances are you will see below this very video anti-Semitic comments. Go ahead and check it out. I'm sure they are there. Even if it's not straight up hatred, stereotypes persist about Jews. In 2009, an Anti-Defamation League poll found that 18% of respondents believe that, quote, Jews have too much power in the business world.
I hear that.
And 13% of respondents said Jews, quote, are more likely than others to use shady practices to get what they want. Another poll given to citizens of Egypt, Lebanon, and Jordan found that more than 89% of respondents had a, quote, very unfavorable opinion of Jews. We know the history now, but why does anti-Semitism persist? Well, I think David Feldman, director of the Pears Institute for the Study of Anti-Semitism, puts it best, quote, people who dislike Jews rarely dislike only Jews, unquote. Jews often get lumped with other hated groups, all convenient scapegoats. When people today blame the Jews for the world's problems and say they secretly control everything, these are just old traditions passed down and taught to them. They are, frankly, unoriginal. So there's a lot of momentum that is hard to reverse. Jews have faced persecution, discrimination, and violence against them around the world for a couple thousand.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is hard. This is sad. This is really sad. This is really hard to watch. Like, put yourself in their shoes. This is really, really hard and sad to watch. You know, I know a lot of people do hate them from, you know, before watching this video, and even as I was watching this video, we found out that quite a lot of people do hate them. But first of all, people need to pause, pause, and then think, why do we hate these people? And then do like real proper research, you know, into I feel a bit funny in my belly right now.
Discrimination, and violence against them around the world for a couple thousand years after all. And while the bigger question is always, why do people hate others? It's important to also ask why specific groups are constantly targeted. Jews have constantly been one such group. As you watch this video right now, there are fathers somewhere in the world teaching their sons to hate Jews at this very moment. Anti-Semitism, unfortunately, persists, and it's up to us to make it a thing of the past.
Wow. This is really sad indeed.
If you could just think of the first group that comes to mind as the most persecuted group in world history, what's the first group that just pops in your head?
Christians.
Okay.
True. Christians
Interesting.
are very persecuted. That's true.
All right. Well, this video is about anti-Semitism, so he just totally messed it up. Thank you to Mr. McClellan, Mr. Sandberg, Mr. Tira.
At least he tried to lighten it up a bit, but...
and Mr. Frost for helping me
Really
make
tough.
this video. And this was not an easy video to make. I spent a lot of time researching and writing the script, and this is not something I take lightly. So please let me know if you have anything to add to the video below. I know I was taking a bit of a risk making a video like this, so just try to be civil in the comment section. How should we solve the Arab-Israeli conflict? Let me know in the comments below.
Wow. Wow. Really? How can we end hatred in the world? How can we end hatred in the world? There's so much land on earth, so much land that we can all share. It can go around us, okay? It can go around, we can share it. Like to sort out a problem, it's not cutting down the branches, you know, it is uprooting it from the roots, all right? That is the root of the problem, all right? Attacking the problem from the root is to sort it out. We need peace in this world. We need love in this world. We always have the right to exist in this world. Everybody. Blacks, whites, yellows, Chinese, Indians, Jews, Christians, Buddhists, Muslims, Israel, Palestine, everybody. We all deserve to live. We all deserve, you know, that basic thing. That basic thing, life. We all deserve it. Okay, but how can we sort out this issue? It's very painful. You know, it's painful when I see anti-Semitism. All right, it is sad. The reason why I feel it is because, I mean, for some of you that might not have noticed, I'm black. Okay, we go through a lot. We don't go through as much as the Jews. We don't. All right, we don't. I go online, like even myself. I go online, you know, to on some, there's these things people do online, like Omegle, or sometimes from online chats, and somebody sees me and just go, hey, they go Negro, or they go, hey, N-word, just say Nigs, and they say it, and then, oh, Blackie, you so black, you so black, you Blackie, just, and that's it. All right, not just me. I've seen it for many, even famous people go through the same thing. We face it too. All right, so that's why I understand them. Okay, they face it worse than we do. So when I say I understand, I kind of feel their plight. You know, I understand it a bit, but I still can never understand it completely because they're the ones going through it, because they've been massacred, they've been murdered for it, they've been killed for it. Black people, at least, were taken as slaves. All right, taken as slaves, we suffered a lot. You know, our ancestors suffered a lot. All right, and then some of them managed to make it, but these people, they were killed everywhere they were. They were massacred. Sad. How can this be solved? How can it be solved for the Jewish people to exist, for the Palestinians to exist, for blacks to exist, for us all to exist? How can we sort out the hatred that we all have? So help us, God. Love and peace out.
Oh, I love you more than words can say. You are me. Oh, you are the light that shines my way. You are me. Oh.